Since the dawn of time, mankind has been fascinated by the moon. This celestial body, ever present in our night sky, has been a source of mystery, myth, and inspiration throughout human history. In 1969, fueled by the spirit of curiosity and driven by the desire to explore, humanity embarked on an incredible journey. The United States, in a monumental effort, accomplished the seemingly impossible, landing on the moon. This event marked not only the pinnacle of human ingenuity and determination, but also the realization of our long-held dreams and aspirations to reach for the stars. This is the story of Apollo 11, the mission that forever changed our understanding of our place in the cosmos and redefined the limits of human achievement. In 1961, President John F. Kennedy challenged the United States to land a man on the moon and return him safely to Earth by the end of the decade. This ambitious goal was a response to the Soviet Union's early successes in the space race, a competition that reflected the global struggle for supremacy between the two superpowers during the Cold War. NASA's Apollo program, designed to meet Kennedy's challenge, was a series of manned space missions that aimed to land astronauts on the moon. The program faced numerous challenges and setbacks, including the tragic loss of 3 astronauts in the Apollo 1 fire. Despite the risks, the program continued, with each mission building upon the lessons learned from the previous flights. Apollo 11, the 5th manned mission in the program, was the culmination of these efforts. Launched on July 16, 1969, the mission was commanded by Neil Armstrong, a veteran astronaut who had already flown in space during the Gemini 8 mission. Joining Armstrong were Buzz Aldrin and Michael Collins, both experienced pilots and astronauts. At 9:32 a.m. Eastern Time on July 16, 1969, Apollo 11 blasted off from Kennedy Space Center's Launch Complex 39A. The deafening roar of the Saturn V rocket, the most powerful launch vehicle ever built, marked the beginning of a journey that would forever change human history. The rocket carried the astronauts, the Command Module Columbia, and the Lunar Module Eagle into space. After a duration of 2 hours and 44 minutes, and completing 1.5 revolutions since liftoff, the second stage ignited once again for a second burn, lasting 5 minutes and 48 seconds. This burn maneuver positioned Apollo 11 into a trans-lunar orbit. The command and service module then separated from the stage, which included the spacecraft Lunar Module Adapter, housing the lunar module known as Eagle. Over the course of the next 3 days, Apollo 11 hurtled through the vast emptiness of space, covering nearly 240,000 miles to reach the moon. During this time, the astronauts conducted various experiments and prepared for their historic lunar landing. Meanwhile, the world watched with anticipation, as the mission's success or failure would have profound implications for the future of space exploration. On July 19th, Apollo 11 entered the lunar orbit, circling the moon approximately 12 times to finalize landing preparations. Armstrong and Aldrin then entered the Lunar Module Eagle, while Collins remained in the command module. As the two spacecraft undocked, the stage was set for the most critical phase of the mission, landing on the moon. On July 20th, Armstrong and Aldrin began their descent to the lunar surface. As the lunar module approached the landing site, known as the Sea of Tranquility, the astronauts encountered a series of unexpected challenges. The onboard computer became overloaded, forcing Armstrong to take manual control of the craft. Additionally, boulders-strewn terrain forced the astronauts to change the landing site at the last moment. With fuel running dangerously low and alarms sounding, Armstrong expertly guided the lunar module to a safe landing spot. At 4:17 p.m. Eastern Time, the Eagle touched down on the moon's surface, and Armstrong famously announced, "Houston, Tranquility base here. The Eagle has landed." The world held its breath as humanity reached a previously unattainable frontier. After several hours of preparations, Armstrong and Aldrin prepared to step out of the lunar module and onto the moon's surface. At 10:56 p.m. Eastern Time, Neil Armstrong descended the ladder and uttered the iconic words, "That's one small step for man and one giant leap for mankind," as he set foot on the lunar surface. During the extravehicular activity, where they ventured up to a distance of 300 feet from the Eagle lunar module, Aldrin conducted the deployment of the early Apollo scientific experiments package. Additionally, Armstrong and Aldrin collected lunar surface samples and provided verbal reports. Following Aldrin's 1 hour and 33 minutes stay on the surface, he returned to the lunar module, followed by Armstrong after 41 minutes. The entire phase lasted over 2.5 hours, concluding at 111 hours and 39 minutes into the mission. In total, Armstrong and Aldrin spent 21 hours and 33 minutes on the moon's surface, where they planted the American flag. The astronauts' moonwalks, broadcast live to millions of viewers back on Earth, captivated the imagination of an entire generation and served as an enduring symbol of human ingenuity and perseverance. After completing their historic lunar excursion, Armstrong and Aldrin prepared for liftoff. On July 21st, the ascent stage of the Eagle blasted off from the lunar surface, leaving behind the descent stage as a monument to the mission's success. The engine was shut down just 435 seconds later, once the Eagle reached the initial orbit of 11 by 55 miles above the moon. The astronauts then rendezvoused with Collins in the command module Columbia orbiting the moon. At this time, Columbia was on its 25th revolution. With all three astronauts reunited, Apollo 11 began its 3-day journey back to Earth. During this time, the astronauts shared their experiences and conducted additional experiments. On July 24, 1969, Apollo 11 re-entered Earth's atmosphere, protected by a heat shield that reached temperatures of over 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit. At 12:50 p.m. Eastern Time, the command module splashed down in the Pacific Ocean, where it was recovered by the USS Hornet. Armstrong, Aldrin, and Collins were hailed as heroes and welcomed home with great fanfare. The Apollo 11 mission's legacy extends far beyond the moon landing itself. The mission's success demonstrated the power of human innovation, inspiring countless individuals to pursue careers in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. The spirit of Apollo 11 lives on in the continued exploration of our solar system and beyond, as humanity seeks to unlock the mysteries of the universe. 50 years after Apollo 11, we continue to push the boundaries of what is possible, both in space and here on Earth. The courage, determination, and ingenuity of the Apollo astronauts serve as a constant reminder that our capacity for greatness is limited only by our imagination and our willingness to take bold leaps into the unknown. As we look back on the historic achievement of the 1969 moon landing, we are reminded of that spirit of exploration, discovery, and innovation that still burns brightly within us all. Today, the world continues to advance in space exploration, with new missions to the Moon, Mars, and beyond. International collaboration and private enterprises have joined the quest to unlock the secrets of our universe. And as we forge ahead, the Apollo 11 mission remains a testament to our ability to overcome challenges, unite as a global community, and reach for the stars.